Hello and welcome back to Business Matters at the Hindu with me, K. Bharat Kumar. There's been a hot exchange of views and opinions between the Indian government and the car industry in India. The Indian government has mandated that the car industry must make 6 airbags available in every model that they sell for all models that seat up to 8 passengers. The deadline for this is October 1st this year. So here's how it works. The driver and the front passenger are protected by 2 airbags in front and 2 airbags at the sides. Likewise, passengers in the rear seats are protected by what are called curtain airbags that protect them from lateral impact. Let's look at the government's point of view. Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari has said that companies making cars for India seem to comply with international standards when the same models are sold outside in foreign markets, but not when these same models are sold in India. He says that given that India has the maximum number of accidents and crashes, it's high time all of us get wary about safety hazards. Why is the car industry reluctant to meet this mandate? Obvious reasons: costs. Maruti Suzuki chairman R.C. Bhargav says that tentatively this could increase costs by 20 to 25,000, adding 6 airbags to an entry-level car. This, he says, could impact the fortunes of the industry that aids the economy and helps create jobs. Other estimates are far less conservative. Sources in the industry say that depending on the redesign required for an entry-level car, costs of adding 6 airbags instead of the 2 that come mandatorily now could raise costs by about 10%, which means a 6 lakh rupee car could actually cost 60,000 more if you add 6 airbags. Mr. Bhargav, whose company commands 70% of the entry-level car market, says it's only now that the industry is trying to recover from several challenges in the recent past. One was the BS6 fuel emission norms that kicked in April 2020, and then almost immediately after that was a pandemic-induced slowdown. So to impose extra costs, especially at the entry-level car buyer, would be too much for such buyers to bear. Mr. Bhargav has an interesting take on safety. He says we should be looking at safety holistically. He says that two-wheeler riders on the roads are far less safe than drivers of cars inside their cars. So the government and the industry should be focusing on converting as many two-wheeler riders into first-time car buyers than try to bring in prohibitive costs at the entry level. Why are makers of small cars so concerned? In the recent past, the Indian car market has seen a shift in trends. In its infancy, the market used to be called the small car market. In fact, international brands had to design for India in terms of size, fuel efficiency, and ease of navigating Indian roads in order to be competitive here. Now, SUVs rule the roost. For the year ended March 2022, SUVs, that is, sport utility vehicles, outsold hatchbacks and sedan categories put together. So if you look at the numbers, in FY22, SUVs clocked 14.9 lakh units, while sedan and hatchback sales totaled together 14.7 lakh units. Even though the difference is small, just compare this with FY19 numbers, where SUV sales stood at 9.41 lakh units, while the hatchback and sedan segments together sold 22.18 lakh units. For a buyer of an SUV, which is termed a premium vehicle, which anyway is going to cost in excess of rupees 10 lakhs, going all the way up to say 20 or 22 lakh, an additional few tens of thousands of rupees for additional airbags is not going to make much of a difference. It's no big deal for that buyer. But whereas for a small car buyer, the jump is going to be significant because it stretches his budget that much more. As it is, rising input costs have meant that customers have to shell out more for their cars. So if the two-wheeler buyer anyway has little incentive to switch over to his first ever car purchase, why bring in additional airbag norms and such and make the challenge even more difficult, is what the industry is asking. Everybody talks about rising prices and pandemic having caused disruptions to the supply chain and so on and so forth. Let's look at specifics. In the context of car making, steel is an important piece of raw material. So if you look at steel, auto components player Wheels India says that in the 4 or 5 months running up to March 2020, when the pandemic actually hit us, steel prices went up by between 20 and 25%. And then between March 2020 and July 2021, it went up by another 30%. And then 1 year hence, it went up by another 10%. So this has been highly unpredictable, this rise. So this has obviously meant that there's only so much that car makers can hold on. At one point, they have to pass on these rising costs to customers. Let's look at the context in which the government is insisting on safety via airbags being installed in passenger vehicles. According to government data, in 2020, across highways and expressways, A total of 1.16 lakh accidents occurred, resulting in about 48,000 deaths. While this does not tell us how many of these accidents involved passenger vehicles with or without airbags, a look at international trends gives us an idea of why the government is insisting on this mandate of airbags. The US Transportation Department emphatically says that in the 30 years ended 2017, airbags helped save more than 50,000 lives. So the hot exchange of views and opinions between the government and the car industry is by no means over yet. We'll keep you updated as developments take place. Till the next episode of Business Matters, it's goodbye from us here.